welcome to Storyteller, where I try to find the wildest story I can each week. And Desiree hears it for the first time. I'm Courtney.
I'm Desiree.
And do I have a story for you?
I'm so excited.
Yay. Yeah, as you can see, our sweet Teresa is under the weather this week. So we had our other bestie, Des, come join us. We're sitting. She's excited to get the deets before everyone else.
That was the very first thing. I was like, yes.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. So, and we're in a different little podcast studio, so you'll have to let me know if the sound sounds better or different, but we got some feedback. We love hearing feedback. Just don't be an asshole. So let me know what you think.
Mm-hmm. Doing what we can with what we got.
So, welcome back to our part 2 of our 3-part series on Diane Downs. If you were listening to this and haven't listened to part 1, what are you doing here, bestie?
Seriously, go check it out. It's crazy.
We suggest going back and starting at part 1 and then coming back to hang out with us on today's episode for part 2. And with that, let's get into the wild fucking world of Diane Downs.
Okay, so I have to tell you, I looked up her picture. I do not find her striking at all. I'm just going to say that for the record. Diane stinks, and she's not striking at all.
I think the more you learn about Diane, too, you're like,
No. Also,
Diane?
how did she pull so much tail?
Oh, my God. With that mullet. I know it was. I realize it was the style, but sometimes her mullet is so mullet, and I am like,
no.
It's a lot.
It is. It was.
When we left you last week, I told you about Diane's early life, her meeting her husband Steve and their kids they had together, and the one they didn't have together. And then Diane's surrogate journey. Girl can get pregnant. One thing about Diane.
Yeah. And shouldn't.
Yeah. No. Yeah. They're usually, when we ended on part 1, we had just discussed that Diane had delivered her first surrogate baby and promptly returned to her life in Phoenix, where she had quickly bedded every man at her workplace in rapid succession without growing attached to any of them in particular until her final workplace conquest.
Yes.
This would be a passionate, obsessive, and there would be only one thing standing in Diane's way of her happiness with this man. Not his wife. She didn't give a shit about that. He was definitely married, but that was no biggie to Diane. She was like, little hiccup. No, her latest paramour didn't want kids.
Which, I mean, for somebody who enjoys not just the act of procreation, but like the actual everything after.
Yeah. What?
Weird?
Yeah. So,
you would think she'd want somebody who's into that.
Yes.
No.
And she's like, no, the one I love doesn't want kids. It's not that he hated kids or anything. He just knew, he knew from a young age he didn't want to be a father, and he was very upfront.
More people should be like that.
Yeah. Yes. So, but he didn't want kids, and Diane had 3 of them. So, let's hear what Diane's crazy ass is up to now. Okay. Robert Knickenbocker. This is really funny. So Anne Rule wrote a great book on this. It's called Smile Sacrifices. I'll put it in the show notes. But Anne Rule is really great about like changing everyone's names and everything. So his real name is Robert. His nickname is Nick, last name Knickerbocker. So in her book, his name is Robert Lewiston. I'm like, you can just say his name. Everyone else is and stuff, but she always changes people's names. So it's just really funny when you find out the real name. I'm like, they are very adjacent.
There's very so much.
So, and he was one of Diane's post office coworkers. He usually worked outside all day delivering mail, but an injury to his elbow had made it so he's working indoors that summer in a sweltering office that had no air conditioning, working alongside Diane, who was recovering from her latest birth.
Baby?
Yeah, and they're sorting mail together. Diane beat the heat by wearing cutoff shirts with no bra. So when she raised her arms to put the mail in the boxes on the top row.
Got some underboob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full underboob. Anyone who was around had full view of Diane.
Okay.
Yeah. At work.
Was this 70s, 80s?
80s.
80s,
Yeah,
okay.
We're, I think, 82 right now. Yeah, when they're...
Solid time frame. Many good people were born in that era.
Full mullet. Probably cut off shorts, cut off shirt, under boob. Just to paint a picture. That's a lot to take in. Nick, a man who was married, as I said, but was harboring some deep resentments towards his wife because she had made him move to Arizona, where she was from Texas, where he was from. And he sounds like he was very a Texas boy. And he was like, I didn't want to move here. So he was very resentful.
He's trading one desert for another.
Exactly. Like, how different are they? I guess Texas is actually really beautiful. Like, some parts are very lush and everything. And I don't know. I haven't been to Phoenix, so I don't really know. Yeah.
Some areas are amazing.
Are they?
If you go a little further north, like Sedona.
Oh, okay.
Amazing.
Okay, yeah. Yes. So I need to spend some time in the Southwest. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Road trip. So yeah, Nick's in there and he couldn't help notice Diane and her boobs that were constantly playing peekaboo all day at him. He's just a man. Just a boy. Yeah. Nick's like, I don't know what you want from me. Yeah. So when Diane would complain about how lonely she was without a boyfriend, but that she couldn't have one because she couldn't risk getting pregnant, Diane, after all, was hoping to be inseminated ASAP in Kentucky again. So she was like, I'm going right back. I'm being a surrogate again. Nick, who had a vasectomy at 21, said he knew who would be the perfect person to help Diane deal with her loneliness. Him.
Oh, sign me up, boss.
Yeah.
I just want to do it.
Nick, do your research. Nick's impression of Diane since he had started working with her the previous November was that she was very smart, bubbly, and showed no signs of just how possessive she could become. Like, she's keeping it under wraps.
How do you hide crazy like that?
I don't know.
Like, it should be a master class.
Yeah. Especially when she's like going through everyone else in the office, like,
did he not know?
I know he did. And he was like, well, it's probably fine.
Gonorrhea.
Yeah. Nick thought he was about to embark on a flirty little fling with his bubbly coworker, but Nick was very wrong.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So Nick and Diane's affair would turn out to be Fatal Attraction-esque without any dead bunnies. There's right from the jump. Nick was hoping their affair would be kept a secret, but Diane, the yapper Downs, talked constantly at work. And then constantly about Nick. She was like, oh my God, guess what? So Nick's wife, Charlene, again in the story, her name is Nora in Anne Rule's book. So I ever call her Nora. Sorry, that's habit. Charlene was aware of the affair almost immediately as well. Like, Charlene was like...
Did she work with him?
No, or she just knew her husband. And she says later, Nick is a lousy liar.
It's a bad pastime.
Charlene didn't say anything, but recorded her suspicions because, there was changes in his routine. And she kind of wrote things down. She kept a calendar. Ooh. And she just bided her time, which I'm like, Charlene, okay, girl. So
very Scooby-Doo of you. Yeah. I love this.
Incredible. Nick didn't want kids ever, hence the snip at 21. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, again, like I said, that he disliked kids. He just never wanted to be a dad. Diane knew this, and Nick would only see her if her kids were not around. Like, from the jump, he was like, I'm not going to be sneaking around with you if the kids are at home. Diane kept her kids constantly moving between Steve, a neighbor, her Aunt Irene, making sure she was always available in case Nick called.
Okay, so she lives on her own. She doesn't have any crazy roommates or any... Okay.
No, it's just her and the kids at this point, yeah. By the end of summer 1982, Nick had a creeping realization that what he had hoped would be a fun little fling was viewed as something much more serious by Diane. Nick, I told you to do your research. So that summer, Diane had some clear-cut goals. Go back to Kentucky to be inseminated, start college in the fall so she could someday be a doctor, and marry Nick, who's married.
And doesn't want children.
No.
And she has 3.
3. Nick said that he often reminded Diane that he didn't want to be a dad to her kids. Like, he was very upfront. Nick sucks, I mean, he's not the greatest, but he was very firm on that. Yeah. He was setting some boundaries there. Diane, though, would just breeze over the subject and assure him that everything would be perfect. She would figure out a way that he would hardly even know her kids were there. Like, she's like, I got you. You're not even going to hear these kids.
I don't know who she thinks. What?
Yeah. Have you met a kid?
Ever? In your whole life?
Yeah. I mean, the baby's only 3.
Yeah. I have very well-behaved children. Yeah. You can hear them all the time.
Yeah. Yes. They speak. It's weird.
I know. Good breathing. I can hear you.
Diane also didn't seem to hear Nick when he said repeatedly that he had no intention of leaving his wife. It's like, I know we're having an affair, but I'm not leaving Charlene. So Nick was stunned. He had seen Diane engage in affairs with many of the men at work, and she always dropped them, disinterested, soon after the affair started. So he was like, what the fuck?
What, is it like just that you can't have him?
I think it was like a huge challenge. She never says, but I think deep down that was probably like, oh, there's so many, this isn't easy. So it's very, So Charlene, again, Nick's wife, was also stunned when Diane, her ass and boobs barely contained in cutoff shorts and a shirt, plunked down across from her and Nick at the post office company picnic that August.
That balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been a straight up fist fight. Honestly, I know, reached right across that picnic table, snatched all of her mullety hair out.
Fucking mullet. Yeah. So, okay. As soon as Diane's barely contained butt hit the bench, everything clicked for Charlene. She was like, she knew without a doubt that this scantily dressed woman was the one who Nick was having an affair with. Like, she knew he was having an affair. She didn't know who. But Diane, she just, Charlene still said nothing to Nick, which is crazy self-control. I would have burned things by now.
I would have been on the other side of this crime story.
Fires would be happening. So Charlene said nothing to Nick. She knew her husband and that he would fess up soon enough. But Diane had disturbed her. It wasn't just that the woman came barely fucking dressed to a company picnic, or how she seemed to have no reservations about bellying up to the same table as her lover and his wife. It was also that the woman seemed neurotic. Like, Diane is manic. That is the nicest thing to, the way to put it. So she's constantly jabbering away. And she was especially strange with how she acted when conversing with her children. Diane would force the kids to stop playing and come over to the table, where Diane would ask them very loudly if they loved her. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Perform.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And if they loved her, and did they hate their dad? Like, girl, what?
Her mom card should have been revoked so many times.
Yeah. So the poor children would answer yes, looking horribly uncomfortable, before Diane would finally release them and let them go play. So they're like, what do you want us to say so we can go? Yeah. Unfortunately for Charlene, that would be far from her last encounter with Diane. In September of 1982, Diane started college courses to pursue her dream of becoming a doctor. Like, Diane had always had these huge aspirations, and probably if she had a little bit different personality, she probably could have done it. She was horribly smart, like, probably not to her benefit. Yeah. She used it not for good, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
She should have been heavily medicated.
Seriously.
That's the only, not a doctor.
Yeah. We're not armchair diagnosing, but
definitely be on some medicine.
There's some red flags there. Yeah. So, so she started some college courses, but her impossible schedule of working full-time and then being in classes every night made her send the kids to live with Steve. Oh. But before September was up, Diane came to realize that this school schedule would be in her life for many years to come if she wanted to be a doctor. Mm-hmm. And it left her almost no time to be with Nick. So she dropped out.
That's the worst thing.
I know, girl. So September 12th was Nick's birthday, and it was only a few days before Diane was to fly back to Kentucky to be inseminated again, when she told Nick that she had some sort of weird discharge, and Nick must have given her an STD.
Wait.
Nick had only been with Diane and Charlene.
Yeah.
So he knew damn well it wasn't him giving it to her, but he still had no choice. Now that he had this information, he had to tell Charlene.
Oh, that conversation.
Not fun. So he tells her about the affair and that she had probably gotten whatever Diane had given him as well. So Nick's birthday festivities that year included a trip to the doctor with his wife to get medication for an STD.
Oh.
And he broke up with Diane.
Well, I mean, happy birthday to him. That's probably like a good thing.
Yeah, it didn't work, but Diane, of course, said he didn't mean it. And everything would be great when she got back from. She's like, let me go get pregnant. I'll be right back and we'll talk it out, sweetie.
They're going to let her get pregnant and she's all diseased up?
Yes.
Oh, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my
God,
life.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But 1982, I don't think, I mean, there's like, she's like hand filling out these forms and she's like, nope, not sexually active and sure as fuck don't have an STD.
Oh.
Yeah. So bad. Yeah. So, it's unknown why the normally very fertile Myrtle did not conceive on that trip to Kentucky, but Diane didn't.
Ooh, thank God.
Yeah, I know. Woo! A win from the universe, yeah. And when she got back to Arizona, she was stunned to see that her plan of making Nick confess the affair to Charlene due to the STD discovery had not made Charlene throw Nick out. So Diane really had planned this. She was like, by the way.
So did she actually have an STD?
She did. They did.
I was going to say, or was that like
yeah, but I think she might not have told him, except for she got this idea, like, he's going to have to tell Charlene, and she's going to kick his ass to the curb. So when I get back, me and my new baby are going to have a new, yeah, it's bad thinking. Yeah. Charlene had heard him out and she forgave him. Again, Charlene, you saint, because I would be like,
better woman than me.
I know. But Diane would not go quietly. Of course she wouldn't. Her obsession was reaching new levels that fall. So this, again, I think it must be that like challenge of everything because it really eggs her on. After her return from Kentucky, Steve picked her up from the airport and tried to discuss a reconciliation with Diane that night. Instead, they fought horrifically, ending only when Diane locked herself in the bathroom of her double wide with a gun. Making threats of suicide, Steve heard a shot ring out from inside the bathroom and he threw his entire weight onto the door to bust it open, only to find Diane sitting there, unharmed and pointing the gun at him. Diane's a lot. Diane is doing the most. So she's like, hey, I might not be brave enough to shoot myself, but I could really shoot you.
Yeah.
Steve got the fuck out of Dodge.
Should have years ago with those kids.
I know. Steve, leaving Diane sitting on the floor of the bathroom next to the hole that she had shot in it. So that is something to maybe think of. Keep that in your pocket for later. So Diane used her charm and incessant talking to jumble up Nick's thinking, and she got him in bed again pretty quick after she tried to kill her ex-husband. Anyways.
Does he know about any of this?
Steve?
No, that...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So Nick would say later that he was almost always with Diane. He worked all day with her. Then they spent the afternoons together when they both got off at 2:30. So I think they started, it was like a 6 a.m. to 2:30 situation.
Okay.
And then he was out with her in the evenings a lot, and she talked to him the entirety of the time. Like, he's like, it was just a lot of her talking at me. Me just sitting there. And he couldn't think straight. He's like, when somebody's just, bombarding
like
you.
100 miles an hour.
That fall was insane times in Diane's life. She went back to being inseminated again, and this time it failed once again. So 2 times she went to Kentucky this fall and didn't get pregnant.
The universe is trying to say
Thank God, something.
It's like, please do not put your genes into this world.
Yes, it's stepped in every so often, yeah. Then the night she left for Kentucky, her trailer mysteriously burned. Not all the way up, but the once brand new home that signified the upturn in Diane's life was mostly charged. Like, it really wasn't livable. Yeah. She still had Nick in her life, constantly keeping him off balance in his life, and covered his neck in purple hickeys so that she was sure Charlene would see them when he would return home. Whoa. Again, Charlene.
Is she secretly from the reservation? No, I'm just kidding.
She can say that.
I'm allowed to. It's fine.
I'm art. Charlene somehow still bit her tongue, keeping quiet when he returned home late. The fall and winter saw Diane, Nick, and Charlene all in turmoil. They're just, Nick would say he was leaving Charlene, then change his mind. Then he'd say he was divorcing Charlene, then go home to her, leaving Diane to have bouts of feeling triumphant by winning her man, only to find out that Nick was back home with Charlene.
And Charlene is still putting up with this.
Yes. Charlene's like, it's just a phase. Charlene, the woman you are. Yeah.
Teach me your patience.
I could never.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Diane would not take her feelings of being spurned by Nick. She would not take those feelings out on Nick. No, she would call up Charlene and she would leave dramatic messages with Charlene for her to tell Nick or write her letters. She even bought Charlene a Christmas present that year. Super.
Are you sure there's no boiled bunnies?
Not that I found, but
this lady's crazy.
Yeah, like what girl? So Nick felt so bad about like everything he was putting Charlene through that he finally moved out, but not to be like with Diane. Like he got his own place.
Yeah.
Diane would frequent that apartment though, often saying that she had figured out a plan to make a lot of money, enough money to build a huge house with a children's wing and hire a nanny, so Nick could live with her and never see or have to deal with her children.
Wait, is she still living in her half-burnt trailer?
She moved out with like an aunt for a little bit and then moved back into the half-burnt trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. Diane. Yeah, so this money-making plan that was flawless, she was going to open her own surrogacy company.
Well,
yeah. She rented office space in, is it Tempe? Is that how you say it? Okay, Arizona. That's how I've always said it, but I'm like, God, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And someone from the newspaper even came out to interview Diane on her new endeavor. But Diane used the interview to rag on the types of surrogacy firms like the one she had worked with in Kentucky and to explain how much better her firm would be.
With all of her experience?
So much experience. Yeah. I mean, she's experienced in one aspect.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she just, this whole time, she's like, I'm going to do it so much better. When the paper printed the interview, a flabbergasted Charlene read the slanderous comments Diane had made about the Kentucky firm. And revenge is best served cold because our queen, Charlene, called them up and read them what Diane said.
I had to send him like a poster size. Like,
I laminated
husband
this shit for you.
Works at the post office. I can send it for free. Let's do this.
The Kentucky firm quickly ended their contract with Diane. And because she had no fucking idea how to run any sort of business, let alone business with all the legality that comes with a surrogacy business, Diane's business was dead in the water before it even started.
I mean,
shocking.
There's like medical knowledge you have to have.
Yeah.
Like there's
legal. I mean, there's contracts. There's
everything.
Yeah. Diane's like, oh,
I got a real fancy turkey baster. Let's go.
Yes. Like, girl, what was your plan? In February of 1983, Diane wrote on her calendar, because just like Charlene was kind of tracking everything that Nick was being weird about, Diane also was like obsessive with writing, and she kept everything on a calendar. She wrote on her calendar that Nick had finally said he'd live with her kids, and he had made a half-assed proposal to Diane. Later, Nick, who said he had always enjoyed a bit of whiskey, but his drinking had ramped up since becoming entangled with Diane, was deep in his cups that night and only half remembered the conversation.
Naturally.
Yeah. But Diane, you know, after hearing months of Nick saying, no, I don't want kids, I don't want to live with your kids, took this one time where drunk Nick was like, I do want to be with you as gospel.
I honestly wonder if it was even I do want to be with you, or if it was more like a we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it was like more of a we'll see, and then she was like full steam ahead.
Yes,
let's go.
Or probably just like, Diane, shut the fuck up.
Please, just this one time.
Yeah. But to Diane, those comments from Nick were good enough as fresh ink on the marriage license. Oh, yeah, it's bad. Diane was so close to winning Nick. But at the end of February, Diane was at his apartment so much that Nick felt suffocated. He really wants to marry her. Mm-hmm. And then came the night that Diane cornered Nick and insisted he tell her who he loved more, her or Charlene. And our boy Nick said Charlene.
Well, at least he's honest. Also, are you sure?
Yeah. What are you doing to her? Yeah. And Diane's crazy side went full blast. She raged around his house, breaking things until she was in the bathroom and broke his hairbrush. For some reason, Nick says later, the broken hairbrush was like the end of it for Nick. He was like, God damn, not my hairbrush.
I love that hairbrush.
He fled from his own apartment, going around Diane, who had followed him out of the apartment and tried to block him from leaving in his own car. He got away and he went to Charlene's, and the two of them listened to Diane's banging on the front door until the sun rose. Like, she was out there all night.
911?
Yeah.
I have an emergency.
Seriously. That's there for a reason. Yeah. Just something to think about. Yeah. Diane left, when the sun came up, just to put on her male uniform. And
all 3 inches of it?
Yeah. The cutoff male uniform. And she returned after she had changed, and Charlene finally answered the door and listened as Diane told her everything she needed to do about her relationship with Nick, how she should let him go, and all of Diane's plans to have the break go as smoothly as possible. Diane, or Charlene, who had put up with so much at this point, always biting her tongue, finally snapped and told Diane to fuck off. Yes, queen. And she slammed the door in her face. I'm sure Diane was like, well, it was just, why didn't you listen to my plan? That was so rude.
Quite reasonable.
Yes. Nick and Charlene decided to get out of town for a while after this incident and went to visit friends in Texas.
I was going to say, if I was Nick, I'd be like, here's why we should move back to Texas.
Yeah, here's your solve a couple problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Diane was stunned to find out how Nick had gone to Texas without telling her and assumed that he was really done with her for good this time. Panicking, Diane put in a request at work for a transfer to Oregon, where her parents had moved to. But when Nick got back from Texas, their affair resumed, and Diane tried to take her transfer back, but was denied. Yeah, what the Nick? He was gone for like 2 weeks, and he said it was incredible.
There's something wrong in his brain.
Yeah, like,
I don't care what your boobs look like. It is not worth that.
Right.
I don't care.
There's an addictive personality here. Yeah. So Diane now was going to go to Oregon whether she liked it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. Nick, feeling bad for Diane. Nick, what? In a move he would regret later, invited Diane to live with him for the last 2 weeks she was in Arizona.
I mean...
Yeah, this whole story, you're like, no, what?
But you hate this whole situation, and yet you're perpetuating it at every turn.
Oh, yeah.
Every opportunity you have to get away, you're just like, no, but sign me up for more.
Yeah.
He is masochistic. Oh, 100%.
Sad. Oh, my God. So this invitation was just as good as Nick saying he'd, want to be together forever in Diane's crazed mind. She was like, yes, 2 weeks living together. We're getting married. Nick was torn. One part of him did want to go to Oregon with Diane until he would return to the house that he shared with Charlene to mow the lawn or work on the house. Like, he was doing his, husband duties.
I mean, kind of the best of both worlds for Charlene. Get the heck out of here, but also take out the garbage.
Yeah, but you have chores to do. Yeah. He just kept telling Diane, if it's meant to be, then it'll be. And still had no idea what he was going to do as Diane pointed her car north towards Oregon. But Diane knew. She was 100% sure as she belted out Hungry Like a Wolf by Duran Duran over and over on her trip north. A song that she really felt like described how obsessively primal and deep her and Nick's love was for each other. Okay.
That's a love song?
To Diane, apparently. Yeah. She was just convinced. She was jamming out on her road trip, and she was convinced it would just be a few short weeks, and Nick would join her and her kids in Oregon. Okay.
Wait, her kids had to listen to her sing that the whole way up there.
They rode up with her parents.
Okay,
thank God.
Thank God for them. That is abuse.
Yeah. As Diane drove north, gleefully enjoying her road trip, she had no idea that she had already lost Nick. He said later, as soon as the sound of her talking stopped, once my head cleared, I could think again. Oh. Nick would later tell the first lady of crime writing, author Anne Rule, and you have no idea how happy I was when she crossed the county line out of here. He's like, girl. Oh. Nick knew he didn't want to divorce Charlene and then move to Oregon to be with Diane and move to Oregon to be with Diane and her kids. Like, he knew he didn't want to do that, but it had been hard for him to really
Well, she never took no for an answer. No. So no matter how many times he was like, no.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well.
Okay, yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. So feeling utterly relieved to finally have made up his mind, no backbone Nick still didn't tell Diane his decision right away. So Diane called him each morning before work and sent him romantic cards and letters every single day after she got to Oregon. Like, she was bombarding him with mail, phone calls, like... Yeah.
Harassment.
Oh my God. How does she have the energy? Finally, Nick told Diane over the phone that it was over between them. And in true Diane style, she said she didn't believe him. Of course she did.
Wait and see.
Yeah. Diane had loaned Nick $500 before she left for Arizona. Now sure that Nick didn't mean that things were over, she told him she would only know it was really over if he sent her back the $500.
Oh, get a second job, dude.
Yeah. Nick put a check in the mail for $500 that very day.
Yeah.
April 21st. And Diane got it and she cashed it. Nick felt he could breathe a sigh of relief. He told her it was over, she lived in another state, and she had cashed the check. Finally, his fun little fling was over. He was sure of it.
I guess, she is kind of the best punishment for her. Like,
seriously,
if you were going to have a punishment for having an affair, that's what you deserve.
I bet Nick never fucked around again.
Oh, I hope not.
And I hope if he did, Miss Charlene was like, I'm gonna go.
I hope Charlene was treated like a queen for the rest of her life for having to put up with all that.
Seriously, I hope so. Oh, so imagine Nick's surprise after all of this when 1 week later, on April 28th, as he was about to get out of his mail truck in the middle of his route in Arizona, when he looked into his rearview mirror and saw Diane parked behind him. What? She got out and walked to his mail truck window, but Nick stayed put. He didn't get out. Okay, Nick, finally, we're doing the right thing. Yeah.
They're magical.
I guess she was wearing just a swimsuit top too.
Oh my gosh. The things you could have done in the 80s, honestly.
No, seriously, Wilden. Yeah. Uh-huh. She said she came to give him back the gold chain he had given her during their time together and show him all of the mail she had tried to send him. Nick had started refusing her mail when he told her it was over. I love that. He's like, you know what I can do? I can refuse your mail. Post office worker.
I mean, and then she still brought it to him like, look at my heart of crazy.
Yes. Oh my God. Diane showed him one package that had been filled with roses she had tried to send with him, but it came back to her and the roses were dead in the unopened box.
Appropriate.
Yeah. Like always, Diane yammered on constantly about how their love was so special and they would be together. Like, she just got out of that vehicle. And Nick was like...
And what?
Yeah. So when she finally took a breath, Nick told her again that they were done and just drove away.
Did she hang on?
I'm surprised she didn't, to be honest. Diane had made this round trip to Arizona all in 24 hours, hoping that she could convince Nick to finally move to Oregon.
That is a long drive. I have done it.
Yeah.
It is super long.
Crazy.
So crazy long.
Girl, yeah. So she did all of this in 24 hours just to have a 20-minute conversation with Nick where he rebuffed her at the end.
Well...
Kind of, yeah.
More people should have done that earlier on.
So
I feel like things might
times.
have been different for Diane.
So different, yeah. When Diane moved to Oregon, she wrote frantically in her diary each day, addressing each entry to Nick. So they were almost like letters to Nick each day, but she never sent any of them. They started out dripping with love and adoration for the man, Diane pouring out her sentiments about how wonderful their life together would be. But Diane's diary entry started to reflect her suspicions that Nick may not be coming to be with her. What? Where would you get that idea?
It's not like it was written in bold letters, flown across the sky in a freaking airplane.
Oh, she'd be like,
want to.
Yeah, she'd be like, good thing I can't read. So throughout April and the first part of May, her diary grew thick with Diane's writings, all about Nick. Her 3 children were hardly mentioned. Like, you wouldn't even know this woman had kids.
Are they hanging out mostly with her parents? Hopefully?
Yeah, she did have a townhouse, but the grandmother would take care of the kids. I think she even dropped the kids off before school. She'd feed them, get them to school. They'd come to grandma's house after school. Yeah. And then Diana, it doesn't sound like, could really cook, so they would eat dinner And then they would just go sleep at this townhouse she had rented.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is probably really great for these kids, to be honest.
Really?
So, yeah. Again, so in her diary writings, you wouldn't even know she had these 3 kids until May 5th when Diane wrote to Nick in her diary, I think today I finally realized that I love my children more than I love you. You should have put her in jail then.
I mean, what?
Yeah. Gross, right? Yeah. Oh, I hate her. From her May 5th entry, Diane wrote daily about her kids, how much she loved them, their daily activities, and all the fun stuff they were going to go do. All of a sudden, on paper, Diane looked like the perfect single mother, sacrificing so much for her beautiful children. Until May 19th.
I'm going to be mad, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. In so many ways, you're going to be mad. Yeah. On May 19th, in 1983, it was described as quiet, perfect spring night in Oregon when Diane Downs sped into the ER drop-off in Springfield, Oregon around 10:45. Diane jumped out of the car shouting, and her shouts brought frantic hospital employees from the inside of the quiet hospital. They were astonished to see what her screams were about. In the back seat of the car were 3 tiny, crumpled, bloody bodies of Diane's children. Ugh. She was still shouting, someone just shot my kids. And it rang in the ears of hospital staff and they worked frantically to get the children inside. The woman, clad in jeans and a plaid shirt, was pale, but she seemed in control, and she wasn't crying or hysterical, just desperate as she implored the staff to help her kids. Staff reached in and scooped up the children, rushing them to the trauma room to try and save their lives. 2 of the children were clinging to life, but little Cheryl, the middle child, was pronounced dead at the scene. Yeah.
She has gotten the roughest go around.
She did. Oh my gosh,
this poor girl.
I know. Ugh. Diane had also been shot in the arm, though her wound was not life-threatening. Shocking. One of the hospital staff members was able to break away and called Springfield Police Department to report the shooting. When the police arrived on the scene, Diane started to tell them the stunning story of how her and her children were shot that evening. Diane went on to say, my children and I went to see a friend to take her a newspaper clipping about some horses for free. She wanted to buy a horse. Diane and her friend had chatted for 15 or 20 minutes, but when it grew kind of dark, they headed home. She took a detour off of Maricola Road onto Old Mohawk Road to do some sightseeing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are there sights on this road, I wonder?
Maybe, but
is it just dark?
It's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. By this time, it was dark and the kids were sleeping, she tells them. All of a sudden, there's a stranger in the road. I stopped because he was flagging me down, and I thought he was in trouble, and I thought he was hurt. And when I stopped, he approached the car, and by that time, I had gotten out of the car. He was standing beside the car, and he assaulted us, is how she described it. He asked for my car, and I made a smart remark. Perhaps I shouldn't have. I said, you've got to be kidding. That's crazy. You don't just do that, ask somebody for their car keys and try to steal their car. Diane goes on to say her refusal to give him the keys is what made him sidestep her and shoot her 3 sleeping children in the back of the car.
Was there bullet holes in her car or windows shot out?
The door was open. So
I just, as a person who shoots, that would be a very hard shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 2-door car, too. It's not 4 doors.
There's no way.
Yeah.
No.
So he shot into did he move the seat? Shut up. Yeah, so Diane said that she faked throwing her car keys to divert the man who's shooting her kids' attention. She pushed him out of the way, jumped back in her car, and raced to the hospital with her badly wounded children. During her recounting, she made one offhand remark I wasn't going to give him my brand new car. I just bought it. Bitch.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be take my car.
Yeah. Can I get them kids out? I just need... So...
Could you just drop me off in the payphone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something. Yeah. After she was done giving the overview of the shooting, the policeman who had come to interview her was charged with taking her to another hospital to have her wounds checked out, as all the doctors at this one were fighting to save her children's lives. As Diane and the policeman walked outside to where her red Nissan was still parked, in the whatever, Diane hurriedly asked, "Is my car okay? Are there any bullet holes in it?"
Oh my gosh. I can't.
I hate her. Yeah. The police officer side-eyed her and answered that they hadn't even begun processing her car yet. Like what are you?
Literally just got here and you told us your whack-ass story, and now you want to know if there's bullet holes in your car?
Girl, shut up. Yeah. When Diane returned from the other hospital, she was told that Cheryl had died and that there was a new group of officers there to speak with her. The doctor who had come to Diane as she walked in to tell her about Cheryl also updated her on Christy's condition. When I looked at Christy, I thought she was dead. Dr. Steve Wilhite of McKenzie River ER said later, her pupils were dilated, her blood pressure was non-existent and very low. She was white. She was not breathing. I mean, she was so close to death. It was unbelievable. He recalled telling Diane all of this, and she was emotionless when he told her that Christy had suffered a stroke after being in there from the amount of blood loss. Yeah. So not only had this girl been shot, but as they're trying to save her, she has a stroke. Yeah. And she was in a coma now. He was shocked when Diane suggested to just pull the plug because Christy was likely brain dead. Before the doctor,
as a mom,
what the fuck? No.
I've been like magic elixir.
Yeah.
Do I have to sell my soul right now?
Yes.
What can I do?
Oh my god, I would do anything. I like, switch us out, man.
Yeah.
Like however you can do that, I will. Yeah. And again, the doctor never said she was brain dead. Like, he never said that, you know?
She just kind of assumed.
She was like, you know what? Let's go
best
ahead.
case scenario.
Yeah. Before the doctor could recover from that shocking comment, Diane blurted out, "This really ruined my new car. There's blood everywhere in it."
This girl.
Oh, I hate her. She sucks. Diane was stoic when told about Cheryl, and then again, as she's being interviewed by the police officers, they would later say she showed no emotion. She had a flat affect and seemed brittle almost, which is crazy because I just can't even imagine. I would be beside myself.
No, and here's the thing. Like, everybody reacts to those situations differently.
Absolutely,
like, no judgment whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you are not an emotional person, I think even in that situation, though, there would be something.
Some
there
sort
would
of
be
reaction.
some kind of
agitated, maybe, you know,
or anything. Just like even when they first said she was desperate.
Yeah,
like, even that.
Yeah,
the desperation of like,
help. And she just was going about business as like, I can't even.
I have to clean out my car now.
I know, like. Yeah, I hate her. So, when she was informed that Christy was in surgery and Danny was most likely going to recover, though he may be paralyzed.
Oh, Bubba.
Yeah. And he's 3, I think, at this. Yeah. Diane asked, the bullet didn't hit his heart? No, they said he had been shot dead center of his spine, a contact wound. So, I mean, spoiler alert, Diane did this. She put a gun to her baby's skin and did that. Like, I don't really know what I believe about the afterlife, but God, I hope there's a hell for some special cases. Oh, God, it's just, it makes me want to throw up, honestly.
I'm not for torture. Or even the death penalty in most cases. But, like, I'm pretty sure there's some medieval situation that would be appropriate for this as a punishment.
Yes.
I feel like it.
Let's arrange some things. Yeah. So the second interview for police raised some red flags, shockingly, for investigators. There were all kind of red flags that went up as we took her statement, but we wanted to give her we wanted her to give us a complete statement, Doug Welch, the investigator, said later. But there were a number of things which didn't make any sense. Why would a mother sightsee when it's dark out? Mm-hmm. Why does a mom with 3 sleeping children in the car stop for a stranger or anyone for that matter?
No.
Would you? No.
Good luck.
Yeah. They always say in the Morbid podcast, they always say,
we love you.
We love you.
So much.
They always say, like, as a woman, a grown man doesn't need your help.
No.
A grown man does not need your help.
No.
And that's something, like, I always think, like, I need to make sure Lainey, my dog, like, she needs to know that. That needs to be hammered. Because, I mean, that's how Ted Bundy was, like, getting women all the time.
So many.
Like,
so many.
Why are you not asking a huge-ass man for help? Why is it me you're asking for help?
Well, and even, like, the ones where there's one, and I can't remember, they did a great story on it. There was a guy, and he actually used his wife and their baby to lure people into the car.
Oh, that was a horrible one. I know what you're talking about. Like,
even then, don't do it.
No.
Even then, like, be a good citizen.
Yes.
Absolutely. And be like, I'll call 911 for you.
Yes, absolutely.
But shout it out the window as you're driving on by.
Yes. But a grown man does not need your help as a... No. So that's just something I really wanted to take away from there, because I'm always like, yes, that needs to be on a t-shirt.
I want the one that says, open windows are for dead people.
Obsessed with that. I am like, that has really gotten me. I am like...
Mason opens windows all the time, and I'm just like, it's a good thing you're military, because you're going to have to save us.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, these guys are like, why would you fucking stop? You know?
No.
And why is she wounded in the arm? And the kids, one is fatally shot and the other two are seriously injured. Like,
how did her arm get shot too? Like, did she ever have that in the story? Like, I tried to shield my babies,
like,
or anything?
No, she definitely wasn't shielding her kids.
Okay.
She never even tried to lie about that. I think it was like as they're wrestling for these keys or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, it's if you're going to shoot yourself, you're like trying to make yourself look, you know, like you're hurt quick. You'd be like, this is my dominant hand. And that's exactly where Diane's was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why is hers so much different? So there's a lot of red flags. All of that mixed with her unemotional demeanor, her detached affect, and her flirtatious actions with investigators.
Gross.
She's
there's no...
that's all you can say.
I just can't even.
Yeah. So she's fucking flirting with these detectives interviewing her about her 3 children and herself being shot.
I mean...
You fucking cunt. Sorry. Sorry. I just had to say it.
That is a whole new level of hobey.
Yeah, seriously. So, yeah, the investigators pretty quickly were like, that's weird. That's suspicious. Yeah. They ended the interview by asking Diane if she owned any guns. She told them yes, and where they could find them even. One was in her closet at home, a .22 rifle, and the other was a .38 revolver, and it was in her trunk. The detectives made note of these, and that neither was a .22 pistol, like the one that had been used to shoot her kids. So, then there was the phone call that she made from the hospital. Not to Steve, the
dad of these babies?
Oh, God, no.
Well, almost.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
He really did love that little boy.
Yeah, he did. Aww. Yeah, so.
It seems like this is the only time he was ever nice to anybody.
Yeah, it's so weird. So, yeah, she didn't call up Steve, but she called Nick Knickerbocker. Immediately, almost. Yeah. When Diane explained what had happened the night before, Nick sat stunned on the other end of the phone in the Arizona post office. When she finished her story, Diane whispered, "I love you, Nick," through the phone line.
Did he know right away?
I think he was so stunned, and I think maybe he did, but it wasn't registering.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would be like, oh.
It's not my fault. I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Nick seems a little thick on some things relating to Diane, so who fucking knows? Yeah. So Diane's like, oh my God, yeah, the kids were all shot, but I love you so much. Nick replied, Diane, if you are planning to come to Chandler anytime soon, do not come see me. Like, he's like, wow, you are 5 gallons of crazy in a 3-gallon bucket. Like, I need you to please do not contact me ever again, you know? And Diane took this in stride. She expected him to react coldly. She knew him so well and loved him so much that his harsh response didn't bother her one bit. She knew he would react like that. So as Diane called her ex-lover to express her love, police searched her house. The family had lived there for over a month, but it looked like they had just got there the day before. Nothing was unpacked save for Diane's bedroom.
I bet you she was getting busy.
Yeah, she was.
I don't think she waited.
No, almost immediately. As she was writing like these gooey letters in her diary each day to Nick, she was doinking one of her new post office coworkers.
Yeah. I bet you there was a really high case of STIs during that whole period of time.
Yeah. So the only room that was unpacked was Diane's room, and there were 4 pictures on top of the TV. 2 of the pictures were of Diane herself. Of course they were. And the other 2 were of Nick, not her children. That was the only shit that was unpacked. Yeah. No pictures of the kids around the house.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's
Did her
wild.
parents not ever like just be like, okay, there's something wrong with her. We really should make her go see a doctor.
No.
Really. Mm-mm. There's something very wrong with
my
this
parents
woman.
would have me committed quick.
100%. My mom would have beat my ass 100,000 times throughout the story. She'd have been like,
yeah.
What is wrong with you? I don't care if I was a grown adult. She would come back from the dead and be like, oh, kick your ass.
Yeah. So, no, I would be committed so quick.
So quickly.
Yeah, so there's no pictures of the kids found at the house. And when investigators searched through the cabinets, they were bare. And what was in the fridge wasn't even enough to make a meal for one person. And it was all moldy. Gross. Yeah. Nothing of interest was found in Diane's townhouse except for her diary, the one that was chock full of anything and everything Diane had ever thought about Nick and wrote down. The writings were of a mad woman who obsessively poured out everything about a man who seemed to not want her at all anymore. At the hospital, DA, so District Attorney Fred Hughey, had arrived at 10 a.m. the next morning to see the victims who had survived the incident that had killed their sister. So he's like, I need to go. You know, the police had brought them everything they had learned so far. And he's like, well, let's go check it out. Fred Hughey, a stoic man who rarely showed emotion due to the cases he took on, stood at the end of Christy's bed. There were so many tubes around her. And I do have a picture of this. I'll put it on social media. It's crazy. She almost looks like an octopus. Like there's so much stuff coming out of her. It's awful. Yeah. There were so many tubes coming around her. It was hard to like see her clearly. The little girl who had been through so much in the last 12 hours was actually awake and alert. And she locked eyes with D.A. Hughey.
And she's the oldest, right?
She's the oldest.
So she knows.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Diane said these kids were sleeping, but they weren't.
Oh.
Yeah. So she locks eyes with D.A. Hughey. And Paul Anton, an investigator who had accompanied Fred Hughey to the hospital, turned to say something to Fred. But when he looked and saw Fred Hughey's face, he was stunned. Tears were streaking down Hughey's eyes, and he continued to hold Christy's gaze. So this man who Alton had never seen Hughey show any emotion aside from being annoyed at times. He said later, it was that simple. In that moment, Fred adopted Christy. No one was ever going to hurt Christy again as long as Fred was around. Yeah. Both Fred
I love you, Fred.
You're
so awesome.
Oh my God.
Get those bad guys.
I know. Like, you
take that baby.
No. Both Fred and his wife, Joanne, a college professor, had always been very dedicated to their careers and had never wanted to have children unless they could dedicate a lot of time to the children. Mm-hmm. So that was a very, they were like, we can't dedicate all this time, so we're not going to have them. Very responsible of them. Mm-hmm. But both of the Hugheys were workaholics and their careers always seemed to be taking the next step up. So there had been no children for them at this point. So until Fred locked eyes with Christy that day. When Fred met Danny, the bright and charming little boy who never would walk again due to some monster shooting him, he felt the same connection. Oh, it's just heartbreaking. Oh, Fred Hughey pulled up a chair outside the big ICU window and sat there most of that day watching Diane's remaining children as he made notes about his next steps in investigating the case. Diane.
Burn her down.
Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm. Get it.
Diane and her sore arm were too unwell to visit the children that day. She's in the same hospital. They made her stay there for a couple days and stuff. And she did have to have surgery later on her arm, but it was very superficial, her thing. And I think they almost kept her in the hospital to watch her of thing.
Where are you going to go murder next?
Yeah. You didn't, I hate her. So the investigation into who shot the Downs children and their mother was now well underway. Steve arrived in Oregon. Somebody must have fucking called him eventually, I guess. So Steve was in Oregon by that afternoon, and Detective Doug Welch talked to him right away. Steve said him and Diane were still friends, and they had talked frequently since her and the kids had moved more north. He also said he knew all about Nick and how hard Diane had fallen for the guy, and Steve said he felt Nick was leading Diane on.
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
It's the whole thing is so why does Steve know the intricate details of your love life with this other guy?
Steve just kind of almost seems just as crazy.
Oh,
though.
yeah. No, Steve's a different brand of crazy, but not great. Yeah. He's not a great dude. Yeah. Very toxic. It's so toxic. So he also told the investigator that Diane slept around a decent amount, but it wasn't like she was a loose woman or anything. She only slept with a guy she really cared about him. Steve stopped sticking up for Diane. What in the fuck? So weird. It's so weird. Welch kept his thoughts from showing on his face.
He didn't even like her when they were married.
I know.
Beat the crap out of her. And now he's like, she's my bestie.
I know. She's a good person.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't look at her.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Welch kept his thoughts from showing on his face as Steve, calmly recounted Diane's hella fucking messy life back in Arizona, always making sure to say she wasn't the bad guy in all the situations she had found herself in her entire life, it sounds like.
She created every single situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
malice and contempt.
That's fair. Welch finally asked Steve what guns Diane owned, and Steve quickly listed her .22 rifle, her .38 revolver, and her .22 semi-automatic pistol.
Oh, she didn't tell him that part of the story.
She did not. Diane had only told the police about the first two guns. The third that Steve had told them about was the same type of gun used to kill one of her children and nearly kill the other two. And Diane just forgot. That's so weird.
So weird. Does he still love her now that he knows that she shot the bibis?
Well, learning this, police gently asked Steve if he thought that Diane could ever get rid of their children so she could be with Nick. Steve told them, absolutely not.
Okay.
Steve, it's right there. It's pretty obvious. Eventually, Diane made it down to her children's room, entering quietly and stared down at Christy, who was awake and made eye contact with her mom. Diane, unsmiling, gripped her daughter's hand and squeezed as she said over and over again, I love you. The police officer, who was standing guard over Christy and Danny, watched as fear laced Christy's eyes and saw the heart monitor jump. Christy's heart rate went from a normal 80 beats per minute range to 107 when she looked up to see her mother over her, and then jumped to 147 beats per minute when her mother started squeezing her hand.
Get that woman out of there. She has already caused so much trauma to this poor child. Like, get her out of there right now.
Awful. It took a long time for Christy's heart to slow back down to normal after her mother left. And that is where we're going to stop for part 2.
You kill me so hard.
You just come join us anytime, girl.
Oh, gosh. Although I have to say, I love that I get to know this. So I love you guys, but like I get to know this first.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Oh, my God.
Also, I hate Diane so much.
I hate Diane. We are starting a club. Yeah. She sucks.
She's so terrible.
She's awful.
How?
How is she not like being I don't know. Like, God, somebody.
And there's nobody in the whole life of all these children. And this is the crazy part. Like, I know this was the 80s and like,
right.
Things happened. But like, nobody ever interfered and was like, she lets these kids run around this trailer park without like food
feeding
or anything. She always like pushes the mouth on other people. Like, nobody ever thought to get involved. Also, Steve, where the hell were you?
Yeah.
These were your children.
Yeah.
Why did you let them go with her?
Steve was having affairs and stealing cars, I guess. So it sucks,
She's
too. Oh, my God. I hate it. So, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. Yay.
And thank you so much for listening to Storyteller. You're going to have to get your little card there.
Okay.
Tell your weird friends. And please join us on Instagram.
At storyteller.pod.
TikTok.
At storytellerpod.
Facebook.
At Storyteller Podcast.
And be sure to follow, like, comment, and download the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to support our show, so I don't know, we could get better microphones or other fancy equipment. Muches. Please follow the link in our show notes. Any donations will get you exclusive access to bonus episodes and other fun extras. And it all goes directly back into the show. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Looks really good. Is it a matcha?
Yeah.
Oh,
they forgot to give me the strawberry topper though, which makes it less sweet and a little bit more
less fun. Yeah, a little more grassy. Yeah.
But usually there's a strawberry topper and then the strawberry on the bottom.
Oh, yum.
Oh, so good.
Oh.
I mean, it's still good, but it's very matcha forward, which I prefer the strawberry.
Because I for the strawberry.
I like coffee and tea, but I didn't want it to taste like coffee and tea.
That's right. I really like coffee because it tastes like chocolate milk.
Exactly.